Speaker, don't take me to that part. Mr. Speaker, with respect, he has confirmed that there has been a program. So, Mr. Speaker, let's not belabor. It's a fact. We are saying that he should take that off. He should withdraw that bit so that the original component of the business committee's report remains without any vetting whatsoever on Monday. Mr. Speaker, in any event, we, the minority, as law-abiding as we are, filed a motion several days ago, and I've done several follow-ups. Mr. Speaker, our minority should not be taken for granted. It should never be taken for granted. We are encouraged at all times that we should be law-abiding, follow procedure, and we'll be vigilant in that process. So, Mr. Speaker, awaiting all of this, the majority leader cannot just announce to us that Justice Alaba Esabato Konu's prayer does not matter. She is a Ghanaian who was appointed. She has submitted herself to all due process. Her rights must be respected. This parliament must, with the greatest respect, rely on its own precedent not long ago and allow the court to determine the matter. It should be our collective call on the acting Chief Justice to quickly empanel the court. It must be our collective voice to encourage the Attorney General to file a defense. It must be our collective voice to encourage the Attorney General to go to the ECOWAS court and file a defense, rather than we being threatened by the chief whip of the majority that vetting will happen with all his might. We are not dealing with might. That vetting will not happen. It will not happen. You must follow due process. Follow the law. Do the right thing. We, the minority, will not shut our mouth. You can follow due process. That's all. Mr. Speaker, I want to resume my seat by saying that my submission does not in any way seek a ruling from you. I am not seeking a ruling. I am rather seeking the indulgence of the majority leader, who knows the rules, to do the needful by withdrawing this aspect of the report that is going to be vetted. Mr. Speaker, we know how to move our case and we'll do the needful. But this one is not a motion bringing it up for you to make a ruling. No. Mr. Speaker, that said, I will rest my case and hear the majority leader.
Right, Honorable Speaker. I think it is important, first and foremost, that we are reminded at all times that we are not just speaking to ourselves, we are also speaking to a wider audience. And so I always make it a point, as much as I can, to speak directly to the wider audience by trying to break down things to a very basic level. When you break down things to a very basic level, sometimes people who think they know realize that they actually don't know, and then they will appreciate. Now, the Chief of Staff had issued some directives regarding some recruitments that happened after the NDC came into office. And somebody went to the Supreme Court to try and get the court to intervene and determine that action of the Chief of Staff was unconstitutional, it was wrong, it was a violation of the rights of those individuals. Then the minority leader brought a motion to this House, urging this House to take some decisions regarding the action of the Chief of Staff. So I raised an objection on the grounds that because someone has already gone to court to vindicate the rights of the people who were dismissed, it will amount to interference in the work of the courts for this Parliament to also go into that matter. This Parliament was asked to act in a matter that was quasi-judicial. Quasi-judicial. Once a judicial process was already underway. And so I said, you will be interfering in the work of the courts if they have started a judicial process of determining the rights or otherwise of those dismissed. Then you also come to this Parliament and say we should also start another process of determining the rights or otherwise of the same people. That will interfere in the work of the judiciary, because their main responsibility constitutionally is to vindicate rights. We primarily are to enact legislation, hold the executive accountable, and sometimes hold the judiciary also accountable. So our position is secondary to that of the judiciary in this matter. That was the context, and that is how the Speaker concluded that I was right in that instance, and therefore your motion should not be admitted. Now let's come to this present instance about the Appointments Committee. In this instance, you are saying that a referral that has been made by the Speaker to a committee of this House to exercise a function that constitutionally is within the province of that Parliament, a nomination which the Speaker has accepted and which he has referred to a committee for the committee to process. And I once again bring your attention to the fact that the same Supreme Court has said that in matters that are primarily the responsibility of Parliament, once Parliament starts dealing with those matters, no one anywhere can stop Parliament from dealing with those matters until Parliament has completed the process of dealing with that matter. You understand? The Supreme Court has said that severally. And he just cited two cases in which members of this House have gone to the Supreme Court to try and get the Supreme Court to order this House to stop considering matters that the House was considering. on the grounds that they felt it was unconstitutional for Parliament minority leader. Reference to the Constitution, to Eskin May, to all those things don't really make a difference. The matter is so simple and so basic. The Supreme Court of Ghana has said that when this Parliament is engaged in its primary responsibility, it will always allow this Parliament to go through that process to the end. And then, if the outcome is wrong or goes against a specific provision of the Constitution, then they, at that point, can make that determination. But once they are seized with jurisdiction and they are dealing with the matter, they will not interfere. I haven't seen a ruling changing this position of the Supreme Court. So, as for ECOWAS, yes, even ECOWAS court will always tell you that you should have fully exhausted local remedies before you come to the ECOWAS court. So if you are already in the courts of Ghana trying to vindicate your rights, you haven't finished in Ghana, then you jump to Abuja. You jump to Abuja when you have not yet exhausted local remedies. I'll be surprised if ECOWAS court delves into your matter. I'm saying this because I have been a member of ECOWAS Parliament for close to a decade, and I know how that court functions. I know how that court functions. So I can assure you, without making any pronouncements now, that the principle at the ECOWAS court is that you must have exhausted local remedies before you go to ECOWAS court. Mr. Speaker, I plead with my colleagues. I know that the circumstances surrounding the removal of the former Chief Justice is a matter that especially my brother, the minority leader, has fought. He has embarked on street marches. In the process, some policemen even allege that he became physical against them. I can understand. I can understand that this is a matter that he is personally very passionate about.
Majority Leader, conclude. But
the Constitution is very clear on these matters. The nomination of the Chief Justice is properly before this House. It has been referred to the committee, and the committee will sit on Monday. I urge him to appear before the committee as a member. You can ask all your questions. The Chief Justice nominee is ready and available and willing to answer all questions put to him, and very, very capable. If at the end of the day, there is any decision by any court in this country, I'm sure the court will find a way of crafting a mechanism for enforcing their decision. The court will find a mechanism for crafting the enforcement of their decision. Mr. Speaker, the court, after we have completed our work in this House, have been able to strike down the conclusion of the work of this House. In that ruling led by Justice Yoni Kulondi, they annulled what we did in this House. So please, allow the system to work. Allow the system to work. So, honorable colleagues, I have presented to you the business statement for next week. The minority leader is a member of the business committee. The minority chief whip is also a member of the business committee. And so this business that we have presented to you is business that we agreed together as the business of the House for next week. And we urge you to approve it so that we can move on. As for the referral to the committee, that was done some time ago. It was not really part of the records of the business statement of this sitting. It wasn't. It is an old referral. What we did is to attach records of the old referrals to remind members that those referrals are still pending before them. But it is not a matter for decision today. The work of these committees are not matters for decision today. It is just to remind members that these assignments are pending before them. So the question of the appointments committee and what they are to do on Monday is not for decision today. It is a matter already referred by the speaker to them. So if you are going to challenge the decision of the speaker on that matter, you know the procedure to use. You know the procedure for challenging a decision. And what they are to do on Monday is not for decision today. It is a matter already referred by the speaker to them. So if you are going to challenge the decision of the speaker on that matter, you know the procedure to use. You know the procedure for challenging a decision that has been taken. So the speaker has already taken a decision referring the nomination to the appointments committee. All we are doing is to remind all committees that businesses are pending before them, that they should endeavor to accomplish those businesses and bring their reports to us for decision. So you cannot get up and like somebody did in secondary school exams, where the question was, what is a tree? Then he says, oh, a tree has branches. Sometimes birds perch on the trees, and one may ask, what is a bird? And then went on a tangent of explaining and describing a bird because that is what he had prepared for in the exams. I am saying this because I know as a fact that he had filed a motion seeking to challenge the authority of this House to have the nominee considered by the appointments committee. He filed the motion. He raised it at conclave, and I reminded him that you cannot stop this parliament from conducting its lawful business. I reminded him, and he told me, listen carefully, please listen carefully. He told me that he had prepared to argue that motion, and that even if I wanted, he would give me copies of his arguments that he would prefer. That is why I'm saying that he had prepared on an examination about a bird. He had prepared to argue a motion. He had prepared to please listen. He had prepared to argue a motion. He had prepared to argue a motion on the constitutionality of this House, considering the nomination of the Chief Justice. So even though that motion is not properly before this House, and what is before this House is the business statement for the ensuing week, he decided to argue his motion.
Honorable Majority Leader, conclude. Kindly conclude.
So, Mr. Speaker, I think that the issues that he has raised are not properly before us. There's no issue about the sitting of the appointments committee. That is a matter decided already by this House. What is before you is the business statement so that we can schedule activities for next week. Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
Honorable members, with all due respect, the minority leader in raising the issue indicated that he's not calling on the speaker to make a ruling. So if there is an issue raised which the speaker is not called upon to make a ruling, do we open it up for debate? Honourable members, with all due respect, he came out clearly to state that he's raising the issue but not calling on me to make a ruling. So we cannot therefore open this for a debate, with all due respect. So, minority leader, I will give you the floor. If you have something to say, then we may progress. But I don't intend to open this up for debate, because I am not being called upon to make a ruling. Our members, procedurally, if minority leader raise an issue and is not calling for a ruling, why do we debate this matter? So please, minority leader, I appeal with you to be brief.
Mr. Speaker, with respect, first, perhaps my two colleagues who were up on their feet, what they sought to do was to seek your leave to contribute to the business statement. Mr. Speaker, the subject matter of this whole discourse is a business statement.
Yes.
So, respectfully, I believe that, yes, I would come in to respond to the issues that I disagree with. Mr. Speaker, you made some fundamental point, but the
so,
members,
Honorable Minority Leader,
yes, Mr. Speaker, yes,
with all due respect
yes,
to you,
yes,
if you intend to respond to what he is saying, before I could open the floor to take comment on the business statement, it will be fair and just that we conclude the issue that you have raised. Then I can give them the floor to comment on the business statement.
Mr. Speaker, if that Mr. Speaker, let me finish.
Yes,
Majority
Leader.
Do you give me the right and then you
let me hear Majority Leader.
Before you come back?
Yes, don't worry.
Mr. Speaker, we all know the practices of this House. When the business statement is read, we start with comments from backbenchers.
That is so, I agree.
To the seniors. And then we end with the leaders. So, no one, unless there's something earth-shattering, no one after the minority leader has commented on business.
Without cutting you short, I have the privilege of discussing this with some leaders from the minority side, that it is not always fair and just that we wait and give opportunity for our leaders after the leaders speaking. Then the back will want to have the opportunity to again speak. It is not a good practice. It doesn't sound well. So the leaders, I plead with you, anytime you want to speak, look at your back. Because once you have the floor, I think I even raised this on the floor of this House, that it is always good to look at your back. Because a leader must speak last. A chief must speak last.